how long did you live at 1260?
Well, I lived there since I was 5 years old,
Okay.
until I moved away from home.
Okay. And then you moved back at
Well,
some
I
point?
moved back to take care of my parents
Okay.
before they died.
Okay. All right. When did your sister move in with you?
Probably in
2019?
2019.
Okay. Now, on October 11th, at that time, did you know the people that lived next door to you at 1270?
I don't know when they moved in. There were so many people that moved in that house
Mm-hmm.
because it was a vacant home and it was a rental, and there were people and people and people, and then Rachelle and Toby.
Okay, so you knew Rachelle and Toby? You knew who they were?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you see Toby in the courtroom today?
yes I do, sitting right there in the blue shirt.
Let the record reflect you identified, Mr. Madden.
The record will so reflect.
And now, were you on your porch on the morning of, I know you were in this picture, but this is later in the afternoon. Were you, in the morning of October 11th, were you on your porch that
Yes.
morning? And
Almost every morning.
almost every morning you're on your porch? What's your routine? What do you do?
Well, Sissy's has raising her grandson.
I'm sorry, Sissy is...
Linda,
That's your
Mayer, my
sister?
sister,
Okay.
is raising her grandson.
Mm-hmm.
And we have him, and he, at that time, went to Crawfordswood School, which was down on the next block.
Mm-hmm.
And he would leave at 8:15, and we would try to be out there, drinking coffee and checking the phone, and so he could wave to us every 5 or 6 steps by, you know, that
Okay.
kid. And it was around 8:15. And he went to school, and I stayed on the porch drinking coffee, went in, got another cup, and my sister...
Is this where you're talking about October 11th?
Yes.
Yeah, right, okay.
My sister went in because she didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed there and probably at least a couple hours.
Okay. Drinking your coffee?
Yeah,
Okay.
looking at the phone.
Okay. But you said he goes to school at 8:15?
He did then, yes.
He did then, okay. Back in 22, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's older now. Right?
Mhm.
And at some point that morning when you're on your porch, did you hear something out of
Yes,
the
I
ordinary?
did. I heard a scream.
You heard a scream, okay. What direction? Where did
This
you hear?
direction.
So you're pointing to your left, correct?
Yes.
Would that be towards 1270 then?
Yes.
All right. What time do you think you heard that?
Well, before I went in,
Sometime after he left?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Hours, a couple hours.
Okay, all right. Well, let me ask you this first. So how old are you right now?
I'm 75.
Okay, so you would have been
73.
73 on October 11th and 22? And do you have any hearing issues?
Yes, I wear hearing aids.
Okay. Do you have your hearing aids in now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. Did you have your hearing aids in on that morning on October 11th?
See, I don't remember if I
Okay.
had them in or not. Usually I wear them
Okay.
as soon as I get up, but you know, if I'm just sitting on the porch, sometimes I don't wear them. So I can't say yes and I can't say no.
Okay, all right, fair enough. What'd you think when you heard that scream?
Well, I didn't know what it was. It was, can I give an example?
Sure.
It was like you open a door and something flew at you. It was just a ah! Like that.
Okay,
Maybe 5, 6 seconds.
okay.
But there's so many little kids in our neighborhood that I didn't know if it was a kid. I mean, you don't call the police because you hear a scream.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't. There'd
Okay.
be police in our neighborhood all the time.
Okay,
But that was what I heard.
okay.
I mean, it was from this direction.
You're pointing to your left
Yeah,
again?
to my left.
Okay.
It wasn't from over here. It was from over here.
Towards Toby and Rochelle's
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
Okay. And So you said, I think you said you went back inside?
I did in a little while because I went in to fix breakfast.
Okay. And then at some point, did you come back out?
Yeah, all hell had broke loose.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
Well, there were tons of policemen
Mm-hmm.
and women, and Toby was running down the steps screaming, "She's dead, she's dead." There's three of them. There was three of them.
Okay.
And I didn't know. I never ever saw anybody until that moment come out of that house.
Okay.
That's all I saw and heard was a scream.
Okay. All right. Can I have 1 second?
You may.
Ma'am, I appreciate you testifying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn. Cross-examination, Mr. Wilder.
Morning, ma'am.
Tammy?
I got a few questions for you. If you don't hear those, or
That's fine.
if you're confused in any way, just let me know, okay? So we saw the picture there. So your front porch where you sat and you had your coffee, and where
Yes.
you were that morning, you heard that scream. I mean, we're talking, what, 25, 30 feet away from the front porch of the
Yep.
parish?
Yes.
Where Toby and Rachelle were, right?
Yes?
You could throw your coffee cup and probably hit their porch or that close to them. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
fair?
Mhm.
Right? I think you identified this, but was your sister in the picture with you on the porch?
Yes.
You said you were the taller head person back
Yes.
to your sister, and your sister is Linda,
Yes.
and you referred to her as Sissy?
Yeah.
during your- okay. You mentioned during your testimony that police are in our neighborhood all the time. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, off and on. Yeah, a lot of kids in our neighborhood.
But your testimony was that the police are in your neighborhood a lot. Is that fair?
I said I didn't want the
Right.
police to call the police. You don't call the
Okay.
police for everything.
All right, let's approach, please.
Ma'am, you said you've lived at the residence we saw in the picture since you were 5 years old?
Until I left home when I was like 18 or 19.
Okay. 2 years ago, you said you were 73 years old, still living in that house?
Yes.
In the year or two prior to that, did police have to respond to your neighborhood often?
No more than any other neighborhood.
So would the police come out once a week or less?
Oh,
than-
no.
Was there a lot of drug activity near the residence you had on Parish?
Well, there were some, yes.
And when I ask you about drug activity, you talking about people appearing on the influence of drugs, people selling drugs? What kind of drug stuff did you
I
see?
never saw anyone sell drugs.
So what kind of drug activity did you
I've
see?
seen people laying on the ground with syringes in their hand, but I've never seen actual buying and selling. I don't think I did. Of course, I don't know. I don't know anything about drugs. We never had drugs when I was growing up.
These people you would see with syringes in their arm, was this near your home?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Is this something you would observe when you're out on the porch in your
Yes.
morning routine?
Morning, afternoon, early evening.
Were you pleased to see that Rachelle and Toby had moved in next door?
I was pleased to see Rachelle
Okay,
because she was very nice and sociable.
all right. Is it fair to say that the people who'd been in and out of that house before Rachelle were people that you weren't too fond of?
Yes,
Were there any people that may have been engaging in the drug activity you described going in and out of that house that
Yes.
Rachelle had occupied?
before they came there,
All right.
yes.
And isn't it true that 2 weeks before Rachelle moved in, there were people at 1270 Parish and they invited you in to look at the house?
Yeah, there were people fixing it up. I had been in there when I was a kid.
Okay. But did they invite you in the house to take a look
Yeah.
at it?
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 weeks before Rachelle showed up at Parish, what kind of condition was the house in?
Well, they were renovating it, like putting in new cabinets and new flooring and,
I may have been confusing there. I'm talking about before you even know who Rachelle is. Did you enter the property 2 weeks before?
yes, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Someone was renovating inside,
Okay.
putting up new cabinets and counters and flooring.
Had you ever been in the house without these things you just described?
When I was a kid. But no, that's the only time I've been in that house since I was a child.
Did you notice the broken windows on 1270 Parish?
I never noticed anything like that, no.
Did you ever go inside the 1270 Parish residence with Rachelle at all?
No.
The workers who invited you into the house, was that Toby or Rachelle?
They weren't there yet. They didn't live there then.
So was this like a moving company, or do you remember who these movers
I guess
were?
the landlord or the real estate people hired them. I don't know who hired them.
You're outside every day on your porch, did you see these movers carrying junk out of the house?
No,
Did you see them take anything out of 1270 Parish?
no.
You just know that they may have been working on this.
Yeah, they had cabinets sitting on the floor, and they were putting in new counters. It was 2 men.
Did you ever see Toby at the residence at 1270 Parish?
Not until they moved in.
Okay. Isn't it true that Rachelle was usually gone and Toby was there?
Yes.
So how many times did you think you saw Toby at Parish? Was it daily?
Probably, yes.
Did you ever tell anyone from law enforcement that you were finally going to have good neighbors?
Yes.
And did you say neighbors?
Yeah, I said, we had met Rachelle, and I said we were finally going to have a good neighbor.
Because you had not had very good experience with the people who had
No,
lived
it was a
12
rental house.
Right, and there had been drug people in and out of that house. Is
Been
that
all
fair?
kinds of people in and out of that house.
I want to talk to you about the scream that you heard. Did you just hear one scream or did you hear multiple?
One scream, about 7 seconds maybe long.
And I know you described it as someone opened the door, someone screaming, your testimony is that scream or what you heard was 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
seconds long?
And I never heard another thing.
Could you describe was it a male, female voice?
No.
Had you ever spoken to Rachelle out of the properties?
Yeah.
Yes. Were you able to decide if that was her screaming?
No, I never thought about it. It was like a high-pitched scream. So I don't know if that would be a woman or a man. But it was a high-pitched scream.
Did you just hear the one scream or did you
One
hear
scream.
others? Did you hear any arguments?
Nope.
Did you hear anybody yelling at somebody
Nope.
else? Did you hear anything which would have sounded like furniture toppling over onto the floor?
No.
And again, the pictures show us you're pretty close to that
Yes.
residence, correct?
Yes.
When you've lived next door, were you ever able to hear other things from within the house, like music or tools?
Oh, yeah. You can hear that boom, boom, boom. You know, young kids, boom, boom, boom.
Did you ever hear tools being used on the inside when Mr. Madden was in there? So yes?
Yeah.
To your knowledge, was he trying to help with the renovation at all?
I don't know. The renovation was finished when they moved in. I mean, as finished as it was, I hadn't been back in the house, so I don't know how much was finished.
You said you heard this scream. Now, how long did you were on the porch, correct? How long did you stay on the porch until you went inside?
I don't know, close to maybe 10:45, somewhere around there, 10:30-ish, 11, 10:45. I don't remember exactly, but it was later than 10 o'clock.
Well, don't worry so much about the timing of it,
Okay.
as I'm trying to figure out how long, like how many minutes. Not did you look at
After
the
the
clock?
scream?
Yeah, after the
Oh, I don't
scream,
know.
did you immediately go in the house? Or
No.
did you sit out there for 15 more
No,
minutes?
because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, I didn't know if it was a kid over there screaming. I didn't know. I know it come from this side and it was a high-pitched scream,
All right.
but I just went back to looking at the phone and then I said, well, I'll go fix breakfast.
Okay, so just to be clear, you did hear the scream and then you went back to your phone, went
Yeah.
back to your food?
I was outside for maybe
Okay,
15 minutes or so, I guess, and I went in and fixed breakfast.
all right. Where was your sister at when?
She
you heard
went
the
in
scream?
earlier because she didn't feel good.
So when you heard the scream out on your porch, your sister was not next to you?
Right.
You said you stayed out there for approximately 15 minutes after the scream. Did you see anybody come into the residence or leave the residence?
No, I never saw anything.
At some point, you said Toby was running down the street screaming. Is that what you said?
No, I said down the stairs.
Upstairs. I'm
We're on the
sorry.
high side of the street.
Yes.
Our property's up, across the street is flat. And he was coming down the steps. I don't know, they probably have 10 or 15 steps to come down off the porch.
Yeah, your residence is in porches a little bit up off.
Yeah, it's up, yeah.
Up and up. So you heard Toby screaming while going down these steps
Yeah.
towards the road?
Mm-hmm.
And when you observed this, were police already on the scene?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry,
It's,
yes.
it's okay, I do it too.
That's
For the
all right.
record, we got to know if that's a yes. All right, so when you observed this, police were already there. Do you know how many police cars were out there, did you know?
Oh, my, a lot.
Was there
a lot.
Was there an ambulance out there at the time you remember?
I don't remember.
So, you saw Toby go down the steps screaming, what did he say?
He said, she's dead, somebody killed her, there were 3 of them.
Where did he go to? He went down steps, where did he?
And he came over right in front of my property, right in front of where we were sitting. And there was a policeman that came on this side of him and a policeman that came on this side of him. Because I started to go down to find out what was wrong with him, because he was,
Was he hysterical?
yeah, you could say that.
Was there any calmness to him at all?
No,
Did you notice anything on his hands? If his hands were bloody at
No.
all? Did he have any weapons or anything in his
No.
hands? Did he make any other statements other than what
that's
you?
all he said.
Did he try to run away from the police?
Nope.
Is that the only time that you saw Toby that day? Is when
Yes.
When he was going down the steps screaming?
Yes, sir.
What about Rachelle? Did you see her at any point that day?
No. I was wondering, because the dog was always there. She had a dog, he had a dog, I don't know, a big old sloppy thing. Old, 2 steps, go to sleep. And I wondered where the dog was all day.
Yeah. So you didn't see the dog at all?
Not until much later,
When we say much later, this is after the police had...
in the afternoon.
Okay, I understand. Just give it 1 minute, Judge.
right, thank you. Any redirect, Mr. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Wilder just asked you, I believe that you were pleased to see Toby and Rachelle move in, and I think you said you were glad to see Rachelle move in, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you not glad to see Toby move in?
Toby was strange.
What do you mean by that?
I don't really know, but he was always over at the house wanting something.
Whose house?
My house,
Come over to your house?
yes.
What do we mean he wanted something?
He wanted to use the Wi-Fi, he wanted to use the telephone, he wanted to, and no.
Okay.
Now, when I say this, he was like on something crazy. He wasn't normal.
Okay. Did he make you nervous?
Yeah, very.
Okay. Would you say you were scared of him?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I'm sorry, is that a
Yeah,
yes?
yes.
Okay, all right. Hang on one second. Ma'am, thank you. That's all I have.
Any time that you've met with anybody to discuss how you feel about Mr. Madden is after he'd been arrested and charged with murder. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. You said he was strange and you were scared around him. Did you ever tell Detective Botts that he didn't appear to be a mean person?
Well, he didn't appear to be mean. He was just different.
Okay.